This is the Inferno Podcast, the official podcast of UAB Athletics. Blazer fans, this is the place each week to get an inside look into UAB Athletics. This episode of the Inferno Podcast is brought to you by the Alabama Department of Public Health and Pearl River Resort. Welcome into the Inferno Podcast. I'm your host, Landrum Roberts. Thanks for joining us this week. Got a loaded up show. First of all, Mark Ingram, UAB Athletics Director. We're going to catch up with Mark, talk about men's and women's basketball as they get into conference play and when they're returning home to Bartow as the conference slate heats up. UAB baseball coach Casey Dunn joins us as well. Our student athlete of the week, Nick Hollifield, sits in. And our lightning round, well, we'll pit the coach and the player and see who is better at some trivia. All of that and more. It's the Inferno Podcast. Stay with us.
As UAB athletes, there's nothing we like more than the Lord of Christ.
Around here, we say we win as one.
One.
And to keep cheering for the green and gold.
There's one thing we need from you.
Ask your doctor about an RSV vaccine.
And help protect everyone.
Our littlest Blazers and our most seasoned fans are most at risk from RSV.
Ask about your RSV vaccine today.
So we can all stay in the game.
And win as one.
Welcome back into the Inferno Podcast. Landrum Roberts along with UAB Athletics Director Mark Ingram. Mark, first of all, Happy New Year.
Hey now, Happy New Year to you.
Today's weekly rundown, as always, is brought to you by the Alabama Department of Public Health to help protect all UAB fans. Ask your doctor about your RSV vaccine today so we can all win as one. So, conference play starting, men's and women's basketball. For the men, later on today, they're going to take on a very good North Texas program. 3 o'clock there in Denton. This is a North Texas team. They have been in the postseason conversation for the last few seasons I can remember.
Yeah, they've had a really, really good team for several years. They've been one of the top teams, coming out of Conference USA. They were really tough, and right into the American they continued, a lot like us. So, yeah, that'll be a good game. They've really turned their program around like us. They built a basketball practice facility. They've got a place where they can train all the time. It's like anything. If you're a golfer, you're good at golf because you take a lot of swings. If you're good at baseball because you take a lot of swings, you can hit the baseball. And it's the same thing with shooting. If you don't shoot shots and you don't work on shooting, so you got to have it. And so they did that. They've got a really good scene. They got a great fan base. Their student body's into it. So, yeah, it'll be a tough game.
Yeah, when you think about the non-conference slate and that now being in the rear view for the Blazers on both the men's and the women's side for AK, Andy Kennedy, and the men's side, I know that he would say that he would have liked to have had better results in the non-conference, but if tradition holds true and history repeats itself, this is a team that generally has gotten better as the season has gone along, and that's when it happens in conference play. And if it's projected as maybe being a one-bid league, then that's really when it counts, right?
Well, he set the schedule up so that had we won more games in the non-conference, he picked teams that he thought were going to win their league, right? And so then if you get through the conference play like we hope, and you've beaten all these teams who also go on to win their respective leagues, hopefully to get an at-large. Well, that didn't work out. We just have been inconsistent shooting. But we played Alabama A&M mid-December, and we were like 85% from the free throw line, and we were 43% from the field, and we were, I think, 38% from three. Well, that's a good night. But then we had other nights a week or two before that where we were only like 59% from the free throw line. Well, you can't beat people, and you're losing games by like 5 points. And it's like you don't even have to be good at shooting. You just can't be that bad. And for whatever reason, have at times just not been able to make it. Good shooters, guys that are good shooters.
Sure.
Butler Johnson's a good shooter. Alejandro Vasquez, really good shooter. These guys, and just can't make it fall in. So
you go back to the game versus Arkansas State when the Red Wolves unfortunately made the big comeback, pushed it through overtime, and got the win. But UAB knocked
Thanks
down
for the reminder on that.
7. Well,
Nice
we're keeping it real here. 7 threes in the first half, and then they only went 2 of 10 in the second half. To your point, so it's not only a game to game, and sometimes it's a half to half or a 4 minute to 4 minute.
And anybody that's watched Andy's team play, as I assume all of our viewers have, he wants to play a high intensity, up-tempo game. He wants to press you on defense. He wants to force turnovers. He wants to run and dunk and alley-oop and all that stuff, fast break layups. That's what he's trying to do, is create this chaotic pressure, which is a ton of fun to watch. Like, when we do that, it is like the most fun basketball you ever watch. It's just maintaining that is hard and keeping the guys focused on it and their intensity level up. And so, yeah, to your point, hopefully as the year goes on, and that's what we have seen, you're right, that does improve.
All right, so for the men, later on today, 3 o'clock in Denton, Texas. Tomorrow, Randy Norton and the UAB women take on UTSA.
Yeah.
6:30 the tip there in San Antonio.
Yeah, and Randy did a good job adding some athleticism to the team. Got a post player that's been really effective, both rebounding and just defensive presence, and she can score, and so that's been helpful. We got somebody who's a true point guard. So I'm encouraged by Randy's team, and yeah, San Antonio. We were talking with Casey before, who's going to be on the show here in a minute. San Antonio's done a really good job too, and there's just so much talent in the state of Texas in every single sport. There's just so many people that the population size creates talent, and so they're all those Texas teams are going to consistently be tough.
Next home games for the UAB men and women. For the men, they take on Tulsa, 1 o'clock at Bartow Arena on January the 4th. Also, the women in action at Bartow January the 4th as they take on Wichita State. The tip time there at 5 o'clock. So conference play beginning. Exciting time there at Bartow and on the south side.
Yeah, it is. And our students will be coming back, and they always get really excited. The first few games of January, home games, when school's back in session, are usually our best attended by our students, and then trying to, continue to keep them engaged, which winning helps with that, but is on us to try to keep them engaged. But getting them back always makes a huge difference in the crowd and the atmosphere in the building.
Well, coming up next, it's going to be our Coach's Corner here on the Inferno. Cue up John Fogarty, Coach Casey Dunn of UAB Baseball. He's in the corner, and he joins us next. We appreciate baseball coach Casey Dunn joining us here in the Coach's Corner. Every single week, the Coach's Corner is brought to us by our friends at Viva Health and Pepsi. Welcome back into the Inferno. Landrum Roberts, your host, UAB Athletics Director Mark Ingram, and now UAB baseball coach Casey Dunn. In full transparency, we were filming this on, December the 19th. So this is pre-Christmas holiday season. First of all, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Coach.
Same to you, man. Merry Christmas.
We appreciate you joining us. I would be remiss if I didn't give everyone kind of a snapshot at you, because Christmas time, I always think of Casey Dunn and the Dunn family. We could call you Casey Claus. And I bought a Casey Claus. And you know about this, right?
This is fun.
Mark, you know about your baseball coach and his history with making everyone's season a little bit brighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Casey, how many inflatables that I know you've had to get rid of, but how many did you have at one time?
The peak, I think 77.
77. Listen,
77.
Y'all. In Casey Dunn's house in Homewood, he had 77 inflatables things like that.
Landrum breaking out the weenie dog on us, huh?
Yeah.
That's a masculine one to
Did
bring
you,
to.
Look at that.
Did you have the weenie dog?
I did. I actually had one of the jumbo weenie dogs at one point as well.
Yeah.
So a little larger version of that one. But we had several. I got out of the small seat. I can get way too technical on you, but that's a black box plug-in, I assume, on this one. Is that correct?
That is.
Yeah, you don't want the black box plug-in. You prefer the white plug, because that has fuses in the plug. So when they go bad, you just whip out the fuse.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, the black
that's what
box,
happened to Frosty last year.
Yeah, the black box goes bad, you just got to toss it. So
you had a flat yard, though. A pretty, well, and I guess in the front it kind of slowed. It had a little slope
again,
to it.
It was a true Edgewood.
I played hell with wind and keeping those things tethered.
I tell you what, there's few things worse than rain and wind.
Yeah.
When it comes to inflatables.
The good thing, though, about your yard, you had 77, so there was nowhere for them to fall over.
Well, we had them in there. We created the walking paths. I had extra stakes to tie them off to as well, so that was a good touch.
How long did it take you to put them out?
It was a couple-day process. It's tough. Day one was kind of just putting the stakes out. Day two was adding the inflatables, and day 3 was usually on the lights.
I told Casey
those are great memories.
I wish that he would have brought them to work. He gave them away to all his neighbors, and I wish that he would have brought them to work, and we could have set them out in the front yard in front of Lake Bartow.
He started a tradition, and I will give you another kind of behind the scenes. There was a holiday bus that people could pay money, and they took
Tacky bus tour.
Wacky Tacky bus
Great
tour.
cause, charity.
Yeah.
We can give them some props here.
And you would have folks that would have their libations, they would have their drink cups where they were, sipping on some holiday cheer, maybe some eggnog.
The late night bus was a little more lively than the 5:30 bus.
I was more on the late night bus.
Mm-hmm.
And
That sounds like fun. Do they still do this?
They do.
The highlight of the tour, though,
Wacky, tacky.
Mm-hmm.
the highlight of the tour was Casey Dunn's house. And that was the one that everybody – and he set the standard because now everyone in Homewood is up their game. A street kind of close to where you used to live, there's a Rudolph that is the size of one of the gorillas you'd see outside of the car dealerships.
And I'm proud, because little known fact when it started, me and my wife moved to Edgewood right when we got married. I was playing minor league baseball, which means in December there's nothing to do in life. And, so we had, our street was one that did the little white lights.
Right.
I call them white light snobs, but they did the white light tree. Well, we bought the tree just like everybody else on our street. And
White light
I brought
snobs.
my redneckness from Hueytown with me, and we put colored lights on it.
Yeah, you did.
A couple of neighbors made comments. Well, all that did is that fueled me, Landrum.
Yeah.
It fueled me. So
Yeah.
then as a youngster,
You're like, you think this is bad? Wait till next year.
well, Mark, year one it still got better, but that's when I made my own because I had
Wait till
nothing
you
else
come
to
back
do.
tomorrow.
So I went to my mother's elementary school. She's an elementary school teacher. Got
Right.
the old school overhead projector. You remember those?
Yeah.
Got some coloring books, made my overheads, traced them onto plywood, and I did my own wooden cutouts for a couple years, which I was really proud of. I mean, that took effort, skill. I'm son of an elementary school teacher, so I'm actually pretty artistic, believe it or not. And
I think that's
to me,
obvious.
I thought that was classy.
Yeah.
Real classy.
My wife, our neighbors,
Not
they
so
didn't
much.
see it as classy, but I did.
The white
Yeah.
light
And then,
snobs.
and then as my daughter got a little older,
How many
got
cutouts
into
are
it.
we talking about? Sorry.
We had a couple snowmen.
2 or 8?
No, we had a couple
20?
snowmen. No, not that many. We had a couple snowmen families. We had a Santa. We had a reindeer. I mean, we had. It was a good look. I had Santa. I lived in what people you would call a Taco Bell, like a Mediterranean little flat roof.
Yeah.
So I had a Santa on the top of it that I made.
Perfect. That's fun.
Yeah, so that was I'd be a little bit more of a craftsman in the early years.
You said, though, you brought the redneck from your Hueytown roots, but now the
No disrespect to the good folks.
oh no, absolutely not.
I got my driving and my
Currytown.
Christmas enjoyment from Hueytown.
But you started something because you see the colored lights a lot more now in Homewood.
Man. The big bulbs,
Oh, yeah.
colored lights, inflatables.
They're
I
bringing
take
it.
a lot of responsibility for
You
that.
should.
We grew up with
should.
the colored lights on the tree, the ones that would burn your house down. You know those old ones,
Oh, yeah.
right?
No doubt.
And then the warm white lights, those became, and then they got into these cool white LED.
LEDs.
And
Well, I would tell you,
that's-
my wife.
I don't like the tricked out lights.
But see, my wife loved the LEDs because in the early years, you literally could hear the meter in our bed from our bedroom window. You could hear the meter spinning outside. So when everything went LED, the meter didn't spin. So my wife really enjoyed that a lot more.
I took the inflatables, and that's one we have here. I put the Grinch. I've got the Grinch in our Jock studio because my wife, she said, I'm so tired of
And I
getting
don't know
texts from
which
the neighbors.
Grinch. I don't know which Grinch you have, but there's one Grinch that's pretty valuable. If it's one of the originals,
Is
you
this
may
like
be saving
Beanie
some
Babies?
money.
Is this similar to Beanie Babies?
Mark, I will tell you,
Casey,
in my
it's
life,
a black box Grinch. It's not a white box.
okay,
so
no,
this
you're
is
no
not
good.
one
Now,
of
if
the,
it's a black
yeah.
box, no. I mean, like I said,
Tough
I had a
luck,
few.
Landrum.
I had a few pretty valuable ones back in the day. I only paid over full price for one. I was proud of that. Most of mine came half price after Christmas, but I did go over the top for one. But that was I was proud of it.
Well, we got tired of getting the text from the neighbors because we had the timer. You could do it with the app. Turn the lights
Yeah.
on. You're out of town. You're over at people's house. But hey, Santa's down. Hey, Frosty, he's in my yard. It's like,
I tell you, one of the things that troubles me about the inflatables is when they're all deflated. I go by my neighbor and they're deflated. I'm kind of like, when are they on?
yeah.
You got to leave them on, don't you?
See, we turned ours on early, part because we lived across the street from a preschool.
Yeah.
So I gave enjoyment to the
They
preschool
love
kids.
it. Yeah,
So
that's what it's all
usually
about.
I was, when I went to bed, they went off.
Yeah.
I go to bed kind of earlier than most. We'd get we'd get some comments about how early they would shut off.
Yeah.
But that's okay. And then
Anybody
we'd
ever
turn
make a
on.
donation to the power bill?
I tell you
Any
what,
of those
my
complainers?
wife, we really did, not intentionally. My wife would always set out, she would order Bible verse candy canes. And they'd have a scripture on the back of the wrapping of the canes, and she'd set a bowl out front. Never failed. Whenever the candy cane bowl was emptied, people would start putting change in there. A few gift cards through the years. Like there's a few gift cards. People put a note in the mailbox. Appreciate
Now,
you doing
see?
this. Here's a gift card for you.
That is the holiday spirit.
Yeah,
Yep.
so there
We
was a
miss
few
it.
givers. A lot of people got their Christmas card photos there every year.
Oh, that's
tradition.
great.
So there was some stuff like that people would tell me that,
Casey, that is a fact about you that a lot of people don't know, and it is just fantastic. The only thing would be better if you said something like, as a child, you were on Sesame Street. If you could do something like that, but the inflatable thing,
definitely don't have anything like that on me.
oh God, it's good.
Well, we were driving. It was after church, and we were driving through, and this was in Vestavia, and there is a even bigger inflatable. It might be the biggest inflatable I've ever seen, but it's Santa, and he's like in this pose where he's lying down on the grass, but it was almost like he would be in front of a fireplace.
Yeah.
A very kind of provocative pose, to be honest with you.
Santa, is that what you
A sexy Santa, and I did. And
His
this
jacket a little
was
open.
this
Yeah,
past
a little-
Sunday, and I commented to my wife, and I said, I wonder if that's where Casey lives now.
No, we were very.
You just did away with the
This is-
77, and you got the one sexy
When we
Santa.
sold our house, and the deal was always when my wife graduated high school is when I could move away from the inflatables. That was kind of our deal. My daughter really got into it.
When your wife graduated
No,
from
sorry, my daughter.
Oh, all
sorry,
right.
I'm getting confused here.
Whole nother
When
story.
my daughter graduated high school. We could get away. Well, she graduated. We actually sold our house that same year, so it was an easy transition.
Right.
Your boy Ross Newton took about 20 of them.
Did he?
Wherever parts unknown he's going to live at next Christmas, we'll see. But people came, got them, whatever. It's great. Spread the joy of Christmas. Really enjoy it. But a couple years ago, I bought a 22-piece blow mold plastic nativity set off of eBay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ashamed to admit it, but I drove 4 hours each direction to pick this up, paid decent money, for it, brought it back, and my wife was like, well, what are you going to do with this? I'm going to keep it till we're done with inflatables. She goes, you're not going to put it out? I said, now we're into inflatables. It's a completely different thing, so.
It'd be rude.
So last year, we're in our little townhouse that we're in now, and
It'd be tacky.
it would be tacky to cross over. You can't go blow mold
Yeah,
and
77
inflatables. Yeah.
Right.
and then put those
You
out.
can't go blow molds
Yeah,
too. So
that's a totally different
So I
thing.
go to the storage unit before last Christmas, pull them out, got them on the cart, push them in my truck, and load it up, head to the house. And the lady at the storage facility calls and says, Mr. Dunn, a woman here saw you unloading your plastic Christmas nativity and wanted to know if you'd be willing to sell it. I was like, no, I've actually never put it out. Like, it's going out. And she said, well, she's willing to give you X amount of dollars, which I'm not going to say because a lot of people would question my intelligence for not taking it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, no, I've never put it out. And, I made the mistake of telling my wife that story after the tornado last December took my blow mold nativity set and blew it all over Homewood.
Yeah.
That I passed on pretty good money. I could have turned a quick profit on that. But so last year I had quality blow mold plastic. This year I just have our little baseball Christmas card. No better, something home for the holidays, something, cliche-ish. But
I wanted to tell you, though, and I wanted our listeners and our viewers to know that you brought a lot of joy to a lot of people.
Landrum, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of positivity to that.
It was.
We
just
did get
fun.
into it with the church across the street one year because they had a guy that kept blocking, one inflatable in particular, maybe had a little political tie, and he literally
dear.
would park his van in front of it. And I had to go into the church and say, hey, I know we all have them, but I've run into one of the people at your church. And
Tell Father so-and-so to move his van.
so we had to have it out there. I felt, quality Christian man going in there to complain about a churchgoer, but we had to cross that bridge. But, it was fun. I mean, I enjoy it. Part of me misses it. And then every time it rains or the wind starts blowing, I think, I'm glad I don't have that.
I'm glad
I don't have to walk out there.
Holding down the tether.
Blown circuits and, boxes that catch on fire and different things.
Oh, gosh.
That stuff's behind us now.
Well, speaking of behind you, the fall, and you're commenting to me that you were pleased with your fall and your baseball team's fall.
Yeah, it was a good fall, man. I tell you, it's this is year 4. It's been a lot more challenging and a lot slower, getting to where I think we can get to, and we haven't done it yet. I mean, the reality is we're nowhere close to where I think we need to be or we could be potentially. But this fall was good, man. We got a good group of kids. We were able to hold on to the guys that could have gone elsewhere. And, in the crazy world we live in now, I think, the most important thing is just keeping the guys you have. Last year we had 5 kids in the SEC. I'd argue that all 5 of them didn't have very good years. And I think our guys on our team last year saw that, realized, hey, I got it pretty good here. And we got an opportunity. We finished well last year. We played really well the last month and a half. And guys were excited to come back. We added a few new pieces to a good core group of guys coming back, and it was a good fall. It was competitive. It was the most competitive fall we've had, just in terms of options and depth and different things that you struggle with a lot of times at our level. So we were pleased with it. I think our guys work. I was driving past the field, literally yesterday. Exams are over, but there's guys that are still in town hitting and throwing and doing stuff because they like what they do. And I think that's been the biggest thing is we have a group of guys that likes baseball. They like being at the field. They enjoy playing it. And it's been fun for me. I think the rest of our staff would tell you the same thing.
In the NIL area and the transfer portal, because you mentioned the 5 guys that were on SEC rosters last year, but in baseball compared to basketball, football, I realize that roster sizes are different. Has NIL, the portal, has it affected college baseball just as much as the other sports?
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, when you look at the SEC, those teams are working on probably anywhere from $2 to $5 million budgets for a baseball team. So it's just crazy. And you've got guys. The one thing you have different in baseball that you don't have in the basketball and football is you have guys buying kids out of the draft in high school. So, your high school kid that may have signed for $750,000 in the past, why would they do that when LSU will give them $500 a year?
Right.
I think they've got a kid on their team now, supposedly he's getting $1 million a year for baseball. He could have signed for 3 or 4 last year, but he'll make the same thing, and then he'll have a chance to get a bonus in 3 years. So it's at that level, it's really impactful. At our level, you're talking about kids just not having to pay for school. That's the difference, too, in baseball is at the mid-major level, guys are paying. It's not a full scholarship. People don't understand that. But, we have the opportunity through that, hopefully, to make it cheaper on some of our guys. And, I think with the ultimate goal, and Mark's sitting here, but, he'll tell you, we talk, like, the ultimate goal would be just for our kids to come for free.
Right.
And at UAB, if we could just be able to tell, hey, man, you come here, it's not going to cost you a dime to play. I mean, last year, our leading hitter who's coming back, his family took out a $10,000 loan to play baseball. He could have left. He wouldn't have been a huge guy, but he could have got his school paid for, probably could have got $25,000, $30,000. Instead, he's taking out a loan to play for us because that's the nature of college baseball, and it's what it's always been. So that's the challenges we've got to work with is figuring out how to make it free with all the legislation change and all that. It's going to be a little bit easier, I think, as we move forward. But, we're not competing in that money world. You just know that going in. And, we've got to provide an opportunity. We've got to provide an experience for our guys where they want to stay and be a part of it. And that's when those guys decided to stay last year and came back, I think it tells you we're doing something right.
I can take you back to when, and we're around the same age, but when we were in high school, Nathan Bland, remember, talented pitcher from Mountain Brook. He gets drafted by the Dodgers. I can remember his signing bonus, Casey, being $200,000. And we were blown away, and we said, wow, that is life-changing money. Yeah. It's really just, we're talking about crumbs now. When you just mention a guy maybe
crazy.
Making $1 million a year to play college baseball.
In Nathan's case, he gives up going to a chance to go to Vanderbilt. He's planning on being a doctor. And, again, he got there. I think it was in his 13th year of professional baseball. He got to the big leagues, which it's pretty impressive. That's pretty strong to
That's
stick
dedication.
it out. It is, man. And but it is. It's a different animal, and you're not seeing as many of those high school guys sign. There's a couple kids in our state last year that probably were $500,000 guys that ended up in college because they get the same money.
Right. Now that Mark and he is here, facility upgrades, and I know that is something that's important. It's in all sports, and we're seeing it across the landscape, not just specifically UAB, but big picture. What would you like to see?
Man, I tell you, and we've got drawings. I give Mark credit. He's worked with us to try to put together a plan. It's just like anything; it takes money. In our case, probably takes somewhere 12 to 15 million is what we're thinking to do it right. We've got some people ready to support us. But we need somebody to stick their name on it and give us that big chunk. And,
we need a lead gift that's significant. But we have other people that, to his point, that if we could get that are like, look, man, if you could get that, I'm in for another significant gift,
right?
To help finish it off. Yeah.
Okay.
But let me give Casey credit. Casey's done a great job because he's lived here his whole life. He's got a lot of relationships. People really, really love him. It's not even about UAB. They really respect him as a man and a coach, and he's done a great job of raising money to do, let's call it smaller things around the facility, our bullpen area for our pitchers and cleaning that up.
In
and
3 years, we spent a little over $2 million in 3 years.
Is that right? Yeah. Well,
we
factor
in the field.
The field was like 1.3.
Yeah.
Yep. So
we've done some stuff. It's just time for the big one. And it's like I tell people, it's people like to criticize. Well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Simple thing. Somebody's got to write a check.
Yeah.
We can want, and that's the thing I've been appreciative of Mark is he has a similar vision to we have. And if he had a $15 million sitting in an account, I think he'd give it to me.
Yeah, definitely would.
If I win the lottery, I'll give it to myself.
Well, and it's not only what, and you mentioned, Mark, about the respect that people have for Casey, but it's the Dunn legacy and his dad, Sammy, and I can remember those Vestavia baseball programs. It wasn't just, wow, that's a really good high school baseball program. It was the standard, and back then it looked like a college team. The way that they practiced, the way that they played, I could leave my house, be going up the street, and you could see the baseball lights on, and this would be in the wee hours of the morning as I'm going to my workouts where I went to high school, and the baseball team, and they're working. And before football games, high school football games, you see Casey, and he's just gotten out of the cage, and he's walking up to the field to watch the varsity football team play. I still remember those days, but it was the standard that his dad set, and a lot of that, it's what you see when he's on the diamond coaching
no question about
a baseball team.
My son Charlie played in that program. They won a state title his junior year. And a member of that team, John Paul Head, is now on our team. And we played against Phoenix City, and there was a kid who was a senior on the
Jack Shocksheimer and Landon Beaver, two of those guys.
Yeah, two of them from Phoenix City were on that team. So there's no doubt. It's like Andy Kennedy talks about the Bartow standard in basketball for us. That's 100% true with Vestavia baseball and the Sammy Dunn standard, in which Casey is a product of.
Preseason in the American picked 8th. And that's fine. In preseason rankings, they don't mean anything. But I get the sense that you believe that this team could be much better than that.
It's going to be interesting. Talent wise, I think we are. Last year we ended up 5th after being picked 10th because we had a competitive group of kids. Our guys kind of got to the end, got frustrated, kind of had their backs up against the wall, and they actually just fought. I tell people all the time, and Nick, I know you'll have him on later, but. Two things we preach is we got to out-execute people and we got to out-fight people. There's got to be a sense of toughness. There's got to be a little edge to how we play because we don't have the sexy stuff. Like, we got to play with a little bit of edge. And, anytime you don't get picked where you think you deserve, that should fuel it a little bit.
Well, and you coach with an edge. Let's be honest.
There's been days I have,
How many times were you told to leave, not asked? Well, last year.
Last year's a bad year. I got ejected twice.
Twice?
Believe it or not, I don't get thrown out a lot. And both times last year were on the road with people that don't know me.
Right.
Like around here, people know me. They know how to tell me to shut up, and I'll listen. But it's when you go on the road and these, some of these umpires, on the road, a little arrogance, a little different deal. Man, you got to put them in their place.
Or asked to leave. Have you ever been asked to leave? Not told, and not instead of told.
I've definitely had plenty that wanted me to leave. If that
Would you
counts,
consider?
know?
Yeah, between innings, Casey, would you consider going to the parking lot?
Because we actually host an umpire training thing at our field, and somebody goes, I mean, why do they do that at your field? And I said, man, we're centrally located in the state. It's easy. And, we provide access and help them out with some stuff, and but you yell at them. I was like, doesn't mean they don't like me.
No,
it's just it's in the game. We're in a game.
You know where the line is. And with some of these guys, you're right. They got a quick trigger, and it's all about them. They're me guys. It's not about the game.
I'm not a vulgar, profane person.
Right.
But, when you don't cuss people, they'll listen to you a little bit longer.
They will.
Well, that's kind of what they don't. That's sort of the line, right? And that's in football,
everything.
Basketball, whatever. You use curse words, and all of a sudden you're out of here. But you can kind of get on them pretty good.
We need like the technical foul in baseball or something, though. That'd be nice.
Well,
I could chalk up a T a game and overcome that somehow.
Yes.
What would you get for a technical foul if they charge a technical foul?
Maybe give a base runner. Put a guy on base or something.
That's
maybe.
pretty steep.
It would be.
Well, the longtime Major League Baseball umpire was it Doug Harvey, who said, and they had this legendary clip of Braves manager Bobby Cox, and he is calling him every name in the book. Harvey takes it, and then finally, after 3 minutes of Bobby Cox just dog cussing him, Harvey throws him out. So they interview Harvey a couple of weeks later, or it might have been down the road, when they said, hey, what took you so long? He said, I let him call me every name in the book, but the last thing he called me was not true. And that's when he got ejected. Speaking of that, we do have rule changes, and we don't have to get to the double base thing. What's that about on first? What is this?
I'm so bitter on the double base because we actually are doing it in our league now.
You don't like the double base?
Oh, no, I'm completely out on the double base.
Okay.
But the NCAA is using it for postseason now, and that's kind of always been my thing. If you use it for postseason, you need to do it in regular season.
Yeah.
With the double first base, there's actually some rules that come along with it of when you touch the inside base, when you touch the outside base.
Oh, boy.
So there's some weird stuff like that. Umpires don't like it, so now you're asking them to call something they don't really want to call.
Can you explain to our viewers what the double base is?
The double base would be similar to what you used to see in softball, like youth girls softball, where you'd have the white base and then the orange base next to it. We will now have
at first base.
At first base. First base only. Major League Baseball went to the oversized bases for safety concerns. Why in the world college baseball did not follow that route is what I don't understand.
Yeah.
And the other frustrating thing is the way the bases mesh together. A base is concaved. It's not flat. So they both concave to the middle. So you actually have a ridge in the middle of the base. And, if you hit that wrong, you're going to roll or break an ankle.
Yeah.
Okay, that was exactly my point when they started showing this thing for the SEC baseball tournament last year. I said, who came up with this? This looks like it's going to be a broken ankle.
Could you imagine if Cags from Florida would hit that same wrong in an experimental year? There's something like I don't know. I'm out on it, but we'll have it. We will have the pretty orange base next to our white base at Young Memorial this year. They actually came in yesterday. I was curious to see if they looked as bad as I thought they do, and they do. But we will. I mean, you talk about rule changes. Like I'll have one of the local umpires come out and talk to the guys about hey, this is what you have to do. Here's when you have to go outside. Here's when you have to adjust to make the inside touch. Because there's some changes to it.
Yeah, and there's some other rules. Pitch clock adjustments.
Yeah, pitch clock's good. I'm pro pitch clock.
Okay, pro pitch clock. Ejections, this shouldn't matter, but it
will matter.
Well, not on you, but it's a player leaving your position to go and help out. If you're trying to defuse the situation, you're not going to be ejected if you leave your position. If you go and continue to incite, then
they had to reword that because it happened in postseason last year, where there wasn't any intention to escalate anything. But, when you've got, one of your guys surrounded by five of the other team, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You just going to sit there and let the guy get whipped?
No.
You're going to go help. Like, that's nature. And you should. If somebody comes after your guy, you should go defend your guy.
That's code.
And it is. And it's part of it. And it's one of the reasons we have more problems in baseball now is because, the adage of throwing at somebody or brushing somebody back or maybe sliding a little late. All that's not good anymore, but, let's throw our bat, just yell and scream and do all that. So, again, more of a traditionalist here. A good fastball up near the eyes will control a lot, but we can't do that anymore.
Love it. The sticky stuff, the spider tack, that kind of looked like they were still checking last year, but wasn't as big an issue at the big leagues.
Thing big leagues did is they went to attack your ball, though. They did add a little tack to the actual surface of the baseball, not as extreme as they experimented with. But, this will be the first year that they check for it in the college game. And, again, it's all because of TV. TV caught guys in the bullpen applying it in postseason, and people freaked out.
Whatever happened to the got a little bit of Crisco or
jalapeno pepper? You're going to have it. Like now,
bit.
you talk about that, but like in the big leagues now, because again, there are guys that made their career off of that.
Sure.
And again, my belief as a hitter, if you're throwing 100 miles an hour and you need some sticky stuff so that you know where it's going, use it.
Yeah.
I don't want the guy that can't feel the baseball throwing 100 miles an hour at me. But what they're doing now supposedly is they're putting Vaseline on their forehead so that before the check they just wipe their forehead, and now it's a slicker surface so you don't feel the stick. So they're still doing it, but they have the Vaseline to take it off. So supposedly that's the latest cheat code. But
okay.
Like I said, I don't know if our guys are smart enough to figure all that out. But we may need to try.
Well, we got one guy that is probably going to pass along the information now. Bat checks, those are going to be allowed prior to every game instead of just prior to every series.
Yeah, the bat dynamic is real. The rolling bats, shaving bats, that's real. When you test the same model, back, this weekend we play so-and-so and they use DeMarini bats. Next week we play another DeMarini team and their bats test drastically different.
Yep.
Something's up.
What's this year's uniform trend? I know we're going to see it across college baseball.
I don't know. We went, part of our school's rebranding, we actually updated all of ours.
Tassels. There are going to be some tassels on the sleeve.
We avoided that. We thought about going to, the Western wear hat, or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm a little more traditionalist, so we got, pretty standard stuff coming, but I think it looks pretty good. We unveiled it last week, and, it's got the new logos, the new gold, a little bit in it, and so I'm kind of excited about it. Plus, you can actually see it. Our uniforms the last couple of years, you needed binoculars to read the UAB on it as the ball. So I think we definitely upgraded. We got really good reaction off of the unveil. So we've got a cream, which I'm a big cream fan. I think it
looks good.
It plays really well with the green.
Old school, yeah.
And and just subtleties like the Blazer logo on that. It's got the tail's got a little flame on it, so it's got a little uniqueness to us.
Yeah.
So there's some subtle things within the logos that I think are pretty cool.
Your schedule quickly. Some of the non-conference games that you have, of course, Auburn, you get them twice. I know that Alabama's on the schedule, and some of the other teams. I mean, you have a schedule that will test you even before you get into conference play.
We've got the 5 traditional SEC games, which we'll pretty much always have: a home and home with Alabama, home and home with Auburn, and then Mississippi State does an every other year home and home with us. That I think will end up probably being a home and home each year, but right now it's every. We go there, they come here the next. So those 5 are pretty consistent. We play in 2 multi-team tournaments in some good cities. We'll go to Charleston. I think that's where we open. We play Maryland, who has got a pretty good club opening day. Miami of Ohio's got a good club that's in there. They win their league every year. We play an event in Greenville, in the Pro Park in Greenville, South Carolina, that Michigan State puts on. That's a good event. So those will be good to where you get to play a couple of different people. They're 4-game weekends, which challenge you. As a coach, you don't really like it because it forces you to pitch guys that you don't really necessarily want to throw sometimes. But early in the year, it kind of makes you do it to find out who's going to surprise you. And usually there's one guy that surprises you in a good way. So we feel like it's a good test. South Alabama is here for a weekend. It's a quality program in our state that comes in for a home series with us, which will be good. And then, once the conference stuff gets rolling, it's a pretty good league.
Our student and our player of the week and our student athlete of the week, he is one of those guys that is a testament to just continuing to work hard, earning your spot, and now he's going to be an expected contributor this season for the 2025 Blazers. He's going to join us next as the Inferno podcast continues. Welcome back into the Inferno. Landrum Roberts, baseball coach Casey Dunn, and now Nick Hollifield. He is a catcher, and he really kind of set the scene last year for the Blazers. Nick, first of all, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy holidays.
Appreciate you joining us. This time in the year, and when we're taping this right now, we're in close to, I guess we could call this just mid-December, but you had a fall under your belt. We heard Coach talk about the old guys mixing with the new guys, trying to get some of that chemistry and find different answers at different spots. What was your experience this fall?
Obviously, just building the culture. With the leadership group we have now, it's just a little easier to get together every week and talk and kind of, see what we need to work on, like as a team. And the biggest thing is hanging out off the field.
Right.
Creating that culture off the field. If I can trust you off the field, I can trust you on the field. So that was the biggest thing this fall.
You're from Houston, Georgia. You played at Mill Creek High School. Mm-hmm. What attracted you to come and play for Coach Casey Dunn and the Blazers?
Just knowing that he likes to win. I mean, growing up, you want to win in everything you do. You want to win championships. And, he was super successful at Sanford. So just knowing that he's a winner, that's all I needed to come here.
You're a rarity because now it's the give me this instantly. If I don't get my way, I'm going to find somewhere else to go kind of society. But it's not across intercollegiate athletics as far as every student athlete. There are the exceptions, so it's unfair to paint everybody with that brush.
Right.
You're a great example of your freshman year. You play behind a guy that ends up portaling out to another school. Last year, you have your opportunity to shine. You do that, and just incredible numbers. And I know that it warms Coach's heart because that's the position that he played in catcher. But the amount of assists, put outs, you're a force, and I know that you're continuing to get better at the plate. Just talk about your development and maturation as a player.
The biggest thing was just setting routines. Every guy has a specific routine that we're doing every day, and that was just the biggest thing. Like following those routines, trusting what they give us, because at the end of the day, they're trying to help us. He might scream and yell at me at times and holler at me in the mic, but I know he's doing that because he wants me to be the best I can. So,
Blazer fans that have not yet familiarized themselves, because we haven't even got into the non-conference slate, much less the conference slate of your season. What should they know? You as a player, we heard it from Coach, but you as a player, where do you think that you guys are going to be stronger? What aspects?
I think we're going to hit this year. I think we're really going to hit. And we got some sleeper pitchers. Our guys that are good are going to be good for us. And we got some guys that are going to fight on the mound, and they're going to compete. So,
was there a catcher that you wanted to emulate growing up?
Buster Posey all day.
Buster Posey.
Growing up, that was my guy.
That's a good one. So. That's a really good one. But Benito Santiago, it was for me, and I don't know about – it was just always impressive. The guy could throw somebody out, gun somebody down at wherever from his knees, and it looked like he was just kind of half-a in the throw, kind of three-quarter in the throw. It was so easy for him. Javi Lopez, though, I'm a Braves fan, and Javi Lopez was the first time I remember the knee savers, and I'm guessing you wear those.
Oh,
those
I don't. No longer. No longer. I think I stopped that early on.
See, I didn't play at the college level, but I never had the knee savers, and that's probably why my knees sound the way that they do now. But is there another approach, or is that just
I think you just
strength and conditioning. Cold turkey.
Yeah, just knees, man. Don't need knee savers to do that.
Okay. All right. What's the trend? I asked Coach about uniform trend. Is there anything you guys going with a straight flat bill? Are we bending the hats again?
You got to curve a little bit. You can't go straight flat bill.
Okay. What about hair? Are we doing the flip? Does everybody grow it long now?
Some guys. I'm a longer hair guy now, but I didn't used to be.
Didn't used to be.
Shaved head till I was 14.
Really?
That's right.
Bring the shaved head back, maybe.
Long time with that one.
You get designs. You get designs put in your hair.
Dad used to shave it.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that was that clippers and then straight razor?
Oh yeah, one all the way around.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you got a good head of hair.
Oh, thank you.
You know what? That was a bad recommendation by me. Keep the hair.
Coach Dunn may not think so.
Hair looks good. All right. We appreciate you joining us. We're excited about the season. Is there anything that you would like to throw out there to prospective student athletes, maybe at the high school level, that are interested in UAB baseball, and this is your time to pitch it to them because you've certainly experienced it?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing coming here, like, you got to be prepared to work hard, man. Nothing's going to be given to you here. Like, everything's earned. The weight room's some of the best development here we do. You're going to lift heavy. You're going to run. You're going to sprint. You're going to eat right. They're going to teach you all those things. So just taking in that information is a big thing.
Well, I can promise you I saw it firsthand with him at the high school level. I saw it with him at Auburn. He'd be running with his teammates on campus, weird hours. It's nothing that your coach didn't do. So you can rest assured in that. He worked his butt off to do what he was able to do. Nick, are you going to be able to hang around? We're gonna have something fun that we have planned for you and for Coach.
Absolutely.
All right, it's going to be competitive, so you guys get ready. We'll continue. It's the Inferno Podcast.
Trent Dilfer here, head football coach of the UAB Blazers. I want to tell you about my friends at Legacy Credit Union. Legacy began as University Credit Union in 1955 and remains committed to UAB faculty, students, alumni, and fans. Not only do they support the Birmingham community, but they are also proud sponsors of UAB and UAB athletics. Visit LegacyCreditUnion.com and find out why you should become a member today.
Welcome back into the Inferno. Landrum Roberts, baseball coach Casey Dunn, Nick Hollifield, UAB Blazer catcher. It is now time for our lightning round. This is a holiday-infused lightning round. Christmas movies. You guys well-versed on your Christmas movies?
I watch.
You're the king of inflatables.
I know. If we talk inflatables, I'm in. But we'll give it a go.
Okay.
And Nick's young. He's into this. He's probably one of these Netflix people that just watches random movies for fun of it. But we'll see.
I'm going to read the quote.
I trust myself.
And you guys try to guess the movie, okay? I'm a cotton-headed ninny muggins.
That was Elf.
Look at that. Let's see. Casey. Let's
He's
see. He's sandbagging on you is what he's doing.
Or I saw his phone before he picked it up.
Okay.
That's okay. But I still
That's
won
fine.
nothing. I'm going to take it. If you ain't cheating, you ain't
All
trying,
right.
Landrum.
Here, that's what they say. If you ain't poaching, you ain't coaching is what I heard yesterday. All right, we move on.
I need a bigger checkbook to do that.
Here's the quote. Nobody's walking out on this fun, old-fashioned family Christmas. This is a 1989 Christmas classic.
Just Christmas Vacation.
Boom.
I didn't even cheat for that one, Nick. I'm up 2-0.
I can't
You better
even
get
give
rolling.
you an answer.
All right, this is a rom-com, and it is a Christmas movie. And I didn't see it until a couple of years ago, but I actually kind of like it. To me, you were perfect. Hugh Grant was in this movie.
I ain't got a clue, man.
Hugh Grant, some kind of love story, Nick.
Rom-com.
He's got to define rom-com for me. I don't know if you know what that means either.
Love Actually is actually the movie.
Okay. Yeah, got me on that one.
Yeah, I figured
Right
I'm
on
going
the
to
first
get
one
this.
there.
My wife made me watch it. I probably took a nap in the middle of it.
Let's see. Or how about this one? I'll throw one off the top of my head. Kevin!
Home Alone?
Boom. All right. Good job. Nick, you're on the
welcome,
board.
Nick. He gave you one. Spotted him that one.
I saw him scroll down a little bit. He had to go find one I could get.
It's the season of giving, Nick. I didn't want you to walk out of here goose egg, right? Golly, some of these I wouldn't know. All right, this is an easy one. First one to buzzer. They say that the Grinch heart.
The Grinch.
Oh, there it goes. All right.
That was just too easy. I had to give you that one. That one's not competitive enough.
Golly, there's another Love Actually.
You're not good enough to give away points, Nick. Remember that?
It's Christmas Eve. It's the one night of the year when we all act a little nicer, we smile a little easier, we cheer a little more. Bill Murray. Christmas movie.
I probably would have watched that one.
Yeah.
Pro
I bet you
Bill
did.
Murray. Yeah,
I remember
pro
seeing it in
Bill
the theater.
Yeah, I don't know.
Scrooged.
Scrooge. I would have seen that one.
Remember that when he plays the network TV executive? And
Yep.
he's visited
I
by
would-
the spirits.
Yep, I would have watched that one.
And he changed a change of heart. All right. Here's one more that you can. I just found $1 million dip. I can give that recipe in just a second. It's Christmas Eve, and we're going to go celebrate being young and being alive. It's Christmas Eve, and we're going to celebrate being young and being alive. This is the what season? I'm just trying to give you a hint here.
Christmas season.
It is. You're leaning towards the mic. It's the Christmas season, but it's also the
Holiday season?
There it is. All right. Yeah, the movie is the holiday.
Yeah, I'm not in on movies.
Okay. Do you have do you have the running tally here on the lightning round?
Yeah, Coach.
Coach is winning.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite baseball movies?
Probably Sandlot.
Sandlot's a really good one. Yeah. What's your favorite scene from Sandlot?
Probably the fireworks scene.
Okay. Yeah. Have you ever seen Bull Durham?
I have.
Bull Durham's a really good one.
Very good.
You're a lot like Crash Davis.
Am I?
I don't know. He played the same position. He was pretty cool in that movie, though.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Costner, it's obvious he really loves baseball, right?
No doubt. You would think.
He's played in a lot of Field of Dreams.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen Field of Dreams.
Oh, yeah.
It blows me away of people who have never seen Field of Dreams.
What about the Natural? See, the Natural.
Natural was great. Hobbs.
Mm-hmm. I've always been a natural.
Yep. Had the Wonder Boy bat.
Making your own bat. Did you ever make your own bat?
I never.
Nick's probably never made his own bat either, have you?
No. You probably did.
I did. Shop class.
You made your own bat.
Shop class, 6th grade.
Do you still have it?
Because it's middle school.
You
shop
still
class.
have it?
I do not.
Did you put like nails in it?
I did not, but it did have a lightning bolt on it.
It did?
It did. Oh, it did.
Major League was a great movie. Mm-hmm. And that was the reference of what was it? It was Eddie Harris's character that he played the pitcher where he'd have to he'd have to use a little bit
of Vagisil,
yeah. That one too. I forgot about that one. Nick, as far as the holidays, you got any traditions that you'll do back home with your family? How are you going to spend the holidays?
Nothing too crazy, man. Just wake up, normal hour, none of this 4 a.m., 5 a.m. crazy stuff. Open presents, just enjoy the day, watch the parade, and then usually go up to my dad's side of the family and, have Christmas there up in Charlotte and then come back.
Any favorite holiday foods that are your go-to when you go back home?
Any type of sort of dip, chips and dip.
You get a lot of chips and dip, a lot of scoops. I don't know how many they sell, but they sell a lot during the season. And one thing that I noticed last year, the amount of cheese and dairy that I consume at Christmas is uncanny. And it's fine for you. You got that young metabolism. For me and Coach, there's no bueno.
This body's fueled by meat and potatoes right here, man.
Meat and potatoes? That's your staple?
That's the staple.
Well, you just kind of mentioned it. Any special traditions that you're going to do with your family?
I will tell you, there's nothing more depressing than when your kids get old at Christmas to me.
Yeah.
Because when a kid doesn't wake you up at 4 a.m, to me, it's not Christmas.
Yeah.
Like Christmas is supposed to be like running to the tree for Santa. So my kids are older now, so it is a little depressing on Christmas morning being a Christmas person. When I'm the first one up, and I'm having to wake up people,
with
and I've got a wife that used to be the one wanting to get the photo as they come down the thing. So now to mock her, my kids won't come down until she gets her phone out to take a picture because she used to ruin Christmas morning because my son will be ready to run down. My daughter's not ready. They're arguing. They're fighting. And my wife has to get the stupid photo.
Right.
That was our house. But no, we've still got a good bit of family in town, both sides of my family. And then my in-laws live in St. Augustine. So we leave the day after Christmas and we'll stay through the first of the year. My wife's birthday, she's a New Year's Eve child. So we'll stay through her birthday down at the beach. And, that's kind of what we do. Don't really have a choice. Well, but it's not bad, man. I tell people all the time, and Nick will tell you this, kind of Thanksgiving to New Year's is almost like a baseball person's summer vacation.
Yeah.
This is kind of like our time to be around your family, do what you want to do, because once these guys come back in January, I mean, it's on. I don't see my family. It's me and my wife laugh. There's a couple we go eat with the week before we start playing, and that's like my goodbye, honey, I'll see you at the end of the year kind of moment. But these guys, I mean, as much time as they put in, and, this is a good time for them to get to be around their family and, hopefully, do the Christmas Eve service, go to church and hang out and do what they want to do so that we come back in January, it's on.
Well, guys, Nick Hollifield, we appreciate you joining us. Best of luck with the season. We'll probably be catching up again as we do have some time. before you guys start your season. But proud of what you've done. Continue to be eager to watch you and your teammates grow as players and people off the field. And we appreciate you joining us here on the Inferno. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Coach, Merry Christmas to you
Same
as
to
always.
you, man.
I'm
Have a
sure that
great
we'll
one.
be catching up, and best wishes to you and your families this holiday season. All right, that's going to do it for the lightning round. We continue here on the Inferno podcast.
The if in life, it's a world of possibilities. If you go for a night out with friends, if you can keep an eye on your money along the way, if you know you have overdraft protection with no fee transfers from savings, when you get a low balance alert, it's easier to say yes to fun. If that sounds good, try Regions Life Banking.
Stay ready for the if in life. Regions Bank embrace the if in life.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of The Inferno. As always, you can follow us on Twitter or X if you prefer, Inferno Pod _UAB. On YouTube, Inferno Podcast UAB. On the gram, Instagram, Inferno _pod. And on Facebook, UAB Athletics. As always, you can go to uabsports.com for all the information and links to the show. Well, for all of us, Coach Casey Dunn, Nick Hollifield, I'm Landrum Roberts. Go Blazers. Thanks for joining us here on the Inferno Podcast. This is the Inferno Podcast, the official podcast of UAB Athletics. Blazer fans, this is the place each week to get an inside look into UAB Athletics. This episode of the Inferno Podcast is brought to you by the Alabama Department of Public Health and Pearl River Resort.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.